As such, the federal government has decided to take the bull by the horn by putting some structures in place, and those structures cannot function effectively without the collaboration of the state government. On his part, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabe, who is coordinating the security intervention against oil theft, said security agencies have been dealing with issues of illegal refineries and oil bunkering across the Niger Delta in the last 5 months. Irabe advocated the engagement of indigenous and host communities in the fight against the criminal activity. The management of the National Assembly has assured staff of constant training and retraining to equip them for the task of delivering on the legislative process. Clerk of the National Assembly, Amos Ojo, stated this on Tuesday at the opening of a 3-day training workshop in Abuja. House of Representatives correspondent Linda Ike reports that Ojo emphasized that continuous training in any organization boosts the morale of staff as well as improve their overall competence as well as build a sense of security in staff. Ojo's position was also supported by the clerk of the House of Representatives, Yahaya Danazaria, who added that the training is aimed at educating staff to understanding how the legislation works, its function and importance in democracy. The aim of the workshop is to ensure that the Nigerian legislature operates in conformity with global best practices. The Military High Command has confirmed the arrest of Owo Catholic Church bombers. According to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabe, the arrest was made possible by joint operations of all the security agencies. The CDS who listed their names noted that the suspects who are members of Islamic State of West Africa, ISWAP, are in custody. Recall that 40 people were killed when the gunmen stormed the church on June 5th, opened fire on the congregation and also detonated explosives as the worshippers camped for safety. Operatives of Amoteku Corps in Ondo State had earlier claimed they also arrested some suspects in connection with the killings. Briefing journalists in Akure on June 23rd, the state commander of Amoteku, Adetunji Adeleye, expressed assurance that all the attackers of the worship centers would be apprehended. Adeleye, however, did not give the actual figure of the suspected terrorists arrested. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has confirmed the arrest of 5 of the killers of worshippers at St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. The governor, who confirmed this in Akure on Tuesday, said he was informed by the CDS of the latest information on the arrest. Akeredolu stated that the suspected were arrested last week and the photographs of the suspect were forwarded to him. He said about 5 of them have been arrested while the military are on the trail of orders. The governorship primary of the Lagos State chapter of Labour Party to pick substitution for its candidate failed to hold on Monday as one of the aspirants, Moshood Salvador, stormed out of the venue, alleging irregularity in the list of delegates. A fresh exercise is slated to hold on Wednesday as announced by the party's deputy national chairman, Lamidi Apankpa. Both Salvador and Gbadebo Rose Vavor were in the race, for Salvador expressed concern over the alleged manipulation of the delegate list, saying about 26 delegates belonging to him were added to those of his opponent. This was just as Salvador, who addressed newsmen before storming out of the venue, quickly claimed Rose Vavor had a day earlier agreed to step down for him, saying he was surprised that his opponent insisted on contesting the primary. However, Rhodes said nobody told him any name was added to his own list, noting that it was a simple mistake that had since been resolved.
That's why I found it difficult to come out fully until after the primaries. I keep telling them, I am known for integrity. I am known for anti-corruption in my life. I keep fighting this need to reorganize themselves, not to contest, to do the primary today. The delegates list has been doctored and they are now saying they are going to correct it. Therefore, we cannot have confidence in this electoral body again.
One of the major complaints was that some names from the local government delegates were omitted. We said, fine. It could be typographical or whatever. We don't know. But we said, exercise patience. let's look at where the problems are coming from and we rectify it and hold our primary election.
If you are a placeholder, what it means is that you are not the real candidate that the party is expected. You cannot clap with only one hand. It requires their support and the cooperation of everyone. If one of them decides to go, then we cannot do it alone. We need their support, we need their cooperation, and we need everything that will make it to work. And to be fair enough to everybody, we said we should postpone it to Wednesday.
Against the background of security threats in the southeast Nigeria and Ogun State in particular, the Ogun State Police Command has read the riot act to criminals to stay clear of the state as necessary security measures have been put in place to ensure adequate life and property. The State Commissioner of Police, Lanre Balogun, was speaking while decorating 6 officers of the command at the state headquarters, including the Police Public Relations Officer Abimbola Oyeyemi from the rank of Deputy Superintendent of Police to Superintendent of Police, while seeking necessary synergy between the police, other sister agencies and residents towards strengthening the security architecture in the state. He, however, assured residents not to exercise an informal fear as they go about their day-to-day activities.
And diligently, with their new ranks, it certainly will come with added responsibility, which we expect them to discharge very well. I, on behalf of the Inspector of Police, congratulate the officers, their families and friends, and to wish them further success in their career. To this end, I want to assure the good people of Ogun State that Ogun State Police Command will continue to have the welfare in terms of security on its front burners. I also want to assure the good people of Ogun State that the command will not relent in its efforts to ensure a safer, more secured environment.
Women of Hahia Asa Umokwara clan in Humahia South local government area of Abia State Tuesday took to the street to protest the continued detention of their son, Professor Uwadinachi Iweha. Professor Iweha, a medical doctor, was kidnapped by unknown gunmen in front of his house on Sunday, June 5, 2022, and has not been seen since then, thus raising fears of his safety. The irate women who trudged out in their tents and undressed decried the spate of kidnapping in the state and demanded his unconditional release. They expressed worry over his safety and pleaded with his abductors to free him. The women later marched to the palace of their traditional ruler, Eze Godfrey Ibekama, to convey their bitterness over the situation. Speaking at the palace, the leader of the women, Sale Ukawa, who was represented by Dame Victory Asomuga, said they were no longer comfortable that 9 weeks after their illustrious son was abducted, no action had been taken to rescue him. She urged for urgent action to rescue the doctor, saying that the women in the community will no longer tolerate his continued stay in the kidnappers' den. The Manufacturers Association of Nigerian Men and the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, have warned the federal government over the rise in debt profile and the deteriorating state of the economy. The chief bodies identified that the country's debt rising profile and the infrastructural decay were problematic to economic development. Man explained that economic mismanagement might result in major manufacturing job losses given the rising cost of production and other factors, while SCCI said that the nation's debt profile had become a problem in the face of its dwindling revenue and unsustainable burden of subsidy payment. The groups advised the federal government to adopt measures to increase the country's revenue and borrow from cheaper sources to ameliorate Nigeria's debt portfolio. The Director General of MEN, Segun Ajayi Kadri, said the worsening economic situation was impacting manufacturers negatively, leading to depletion in working capital, reduction in capacity utilization with possible labor force right sizing to follow. LCCI President Dr. Michael Olawale Cole, who gave the advice in Lagos, said most recent statistics and government revenues show poor performance and mounting government costs, making it evident that Nigeria is going through a debt crisis. That's all from the local scene. We'll go on a quick break to bring you foreign stories. Please stay with us. This is Mitv News at 6. Now to foreign stories. Kenyans are heading to the polls on Tuesday to select a successor to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Cost of living, high unemployment, and rampant corruption have dominated the campaign season, with top presidential candidate Raila Odinga and William Ruto pledging to address the country's gaping inequality and focusing largely on domestic issues. Kenya's Election Commission said voters' turnout will probably be about 60%. According to the Election Commission, turnout in the last election in 2017 was nearly 80%, while stating that Kenyans living abroad in 12 countries are also voting. The Kremlin has dismissed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's proposal for a Western travel ban on Russians, saying the call is irrational. France has said that a ban on Russian nationals entering military installations was applied too rigidly when 2 Russian visitors were turned away at the Chateau de Vincennes, a medieval fortress and tourist attraction on the edge of Paris. After media coverage and social media comment on the issue, the Defense Ministry told a news agency that the guards had, in fact, indiscriminately applied a rule established in February concerning all military installations. The spokesman said the rule cannot be applied in the same way for strategic sites and for sites accessible to the public, such as museums. Meanwhile, an international news agency quoted a Russian-installed separatist official as saying that an anti-aircraft defenses around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant will be strengthened following days of reported shelling on the site. Russia's defense ministry said that explosions at the Russian military airbase in Crimea were caused by a detonation of aviation ammunition and that there had been no casualties. According to the RIA Novesta News Agency, it said there had been no attack and no military equipment had been damaged. After loud explosions and black smoke rising from the direction of a Russian military airbase at Novofedorivka on the annexed Crimean Peninsula were reported. The Transneft pipeline company on Tuesday said transport of Russian oil to Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia via the Druzhba pipeline has been halted. Transneft, which is controlled by the Russian state, blamed Ukranafta, which operates Ukraine's oil pipelines, for the shutdown, and said the shutdown on Druzhba went into force early on Thursday last week. Transneft said Ukranafta completely altered the pumping of oil to Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia along the southern line of the Druzhba pipeline on August 4th in the morning. Transneft spokesman Igor Dinomi said the shutdown had to do with payment problems. Ukraine demands prepayment for pumping Russian oil across its territory, but the payments made by Transneft have been rejected on account of sanctions imposed by the European Union. Oil transport are reported to be continuing along Druzhba's northern route, which runs through Belarus and Poland to Germany. 3 Palestinians, including a senior armed resistance commander, have been killed by Israeli forces during a raid on the occupied West Bank city of Nablus, the Palestinian Health Ministry said. The Israeli army surrounded a building in the old city at 5 a.m. local time, that is 02:00 GMT on Tuesday, where Ibrahim al-Nabusi, the commander of Al-Aqsa Matrayas Brigade, had barricaded himself, and a gunfight lasted for several hours. Al-Nabusi, 30, was killed along with 32-year-old Islam Sabo and Hussein Jamataha, the health ministry said, adding that more than 60 others were wounded, 4 were in critical condition. Report says Al-Nabusi had refused to surrender and was defended by other armed Palestinians before he was killed. Al-Nabusi, known popularly as the Lion of Nablus, had been on the run for many months and survived several assassination attempts by Israel Israel. His public appearances at the funerals of his fellow comrades, such as in February and July, had further raised the ire of Israeli forces. And up next is sports stories. Please stay with us. You're still watching Mitv News at 6. Now, talking sport. Anthony Joshua has been given the green light to fight Dante Wilder, even if he loses his rematch with Alexander Usyk. Joshua faces Usyk for a second time on August 20th in Saudi Arabia following defeat last September. A win would regain the WBA, IBF and WBO belt and put AJ back on course for an undisputed decider with WBC champion Tyson Fury. But a second consecutive loss at the hands of Ukraine's pound-for-pound star will leave Joshua's stock at an all-time low. Despite that, Wilder's Hall of Fame manager Shelley Finkel will still be interested in pitting the longtime rivals together. Finkel told Sunsport in New York, "I believe that fight is enormous even if he loses to Usyk." Fury still remains linked with a comeback to challenge the winner between Usyk 35 and Joshua 32, but the likes of Eddie Hearn reckon the unbeaten champ will only fight again if Anthony Joshua is victorious in the Middle East. Although Finkel believes if the Saudis found the right amount of cash, Fury would return against Usyk or anyone else in the division. The city of Arusha in Tanzania, which mirrors 51 African countries during the 44th General Assembly that will take place at the Arusha International Convention Center. Home to two of some of the continent's biggest clubs that regularly compete in the CAF interclub competition, Simba and Yanga. Tanzania is an incredibly breathtaking football country. For this reason, Arusha is a befitting host for this week's meeting that will bring together football administrators from across the entire continent. Tanzania Football Federation President Wallace Karia is excited, saying this is a historic moment for Tanzania. We have been preparing for this for months, and finally seeing everyone arrive here in Arusha gives me great satisfaction as a Tanzanian. 52 member associations of Africa will be represented at the 44th CAF Ordinary General Assembly. In a related development, CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe is expected to launch the eagerly anticipated Africa Super League tomorrow in Arusha. Sport Village Square gathered that 24 clubs will be eligible to feature in the competition. Among the teams expected to form the full set of participants are Enyimba of Nigeria, Al Ahly, Zamalek and Pyramids of Egypt, Wydad Casablanca and Raja Casablanca of Morocco, Esperance, Etoile du Sahel and Club African of Tunisia, TP Mazembe and Asvita of Congo. South Africa's Kaiser's Chiefs, Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns. It was first announced on 28th of November 2019 by FIFA President Gianni Infantino. The essence of holding this tournament is the huge financial returns that will exceed the barrier of $200 million, which will be used to develop and improve stadiums, infrastructure, and the promotion of football in Africa. American professional tennis player Serena Williams has announced a retirement from tennis. Although she has not given a precise date for her exit, Williams said, and I quote, "It is the hardest thing I could ever imagine." And of course, the world-famous tennis champion says she is preparing to quit after the U.S. Open in order to put up a try at another child at 40. Williams indicated that her imminent retirement was imperative to spend more time with her daughter Olympia and her husband Alexis Ohanian. The tennis star's announcement is coming on heels of a first win of the season, a two-set victory at the National Bank Open. Williams is committed to playing at next week's Western and Southern Open in Cincinnati. The famed Williams thanked fans in an interview and admitted that she's going to miss the game as well as the person she once was. And that's it on MITV News at 6. Join us again at 9:30 p.m. tonight for our primetime news. I am Teresa Adeyemi. To enjoy the rest of our programs. Good evening.